So welcome back, everyone. I'm excited about bringing on my next guest. She's been on with me. We just figured it out in November. 4 years, I have with me Anna von Straussenberg. She's the owner of L. Anna von Straussenberg CPA. Welcome back to the show. You are also one of my sponsors, and I appreciate you for everything and being on my show and being a supporter and all of that. Tell everybody, obviously we know what you do, but really, Anna, what makes you different?
Oh, hi Carol. Thanks for having me back. I always am happy to be here. Well, a couple things. I got into accounting a little bit later in life. Well, later, 30. not that much later, but it was my second career because my husband at the time, when I came home from work at from my teaching job, I was really unhappy, and he said, "You need to go into business." He said, "You're so good on the computer. You do our family spreadsheet on family budget on a spreadsheet, and you really need to do that." And so I took his advice and applied a couple places. I ended up getting a job as a receptionist in an accounting firm. So that is the bottom rung.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got established there, I went back to school and started studying accounting. And finally, one day, I kind of had an epiphany that I wanted to get my CPA by the time I was 40. So I set that as a goal and arranged my classes accordingly. And we applied for the CPA exam the week I turned 40.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
But you know what else that's really neat is you've been in your firm, you worked for the firm, but now you're the owner of that firm. And I want people to understand that not many people who own a business, and how long did the owner at the time own that business?
Oh, he owned it for like well over 30 years, probably
30.
40 years. He'd been an accountant for 50 years when he retired.
So when you're going to sell your business to someone, and he was originally going to maybe pass it down, but that didn't work out. But when you can't, he offered it to you. That's an accomplishment right there.
Yeah, he used to joke with me when I go on vacation. He goes, "Well, I can't let you go for too long because," he goes, "the firm doesn't run right without you." So.
Well, here's what I love about Anna. She had mentioned that she was a teacher before, and what she does is she holds your hand. You are not just a client where you bring in your paperwork and boom, it gets done, and you just, cross your fingers. With Anna, she really does teach you to know your numbers and understand them, and I do always have to go through this because it's so important for people to hear, because you actually could take people who literally are losing in their business and turn around their business and help them actually make money.
Yeah, I like to talk to my clients about their accounting and what they're doing and really show them that, it's important to keep their books up to date and keep them up to date correctly. If you're not tracking things correctly, then you can't make good decisions. I had one client that was not tracking his inventory correctly, and so he wasn't getting good numbers for his cost of goods sold. And we helped him clean up the inventory, and then eventually he ended up going with a different supplier because he discovered that his supplier was costing him too much money.
See, so you saved him money that way.
Yep, I saved him money that way. He started off losing money every year, but by the time he left, he was netting over $1 million a year, and he sold his business for over $12 million.
So when you're looking for a CPA, you want somebody that's just like Anna. So her phone number to call is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does do free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. You can check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs.com. I do also have to say one more thing. Because one of the things that you do, when you take pride when you take on a client, and you are all about excellence and integrity in accounting, you also literally will get to know them by going, you don't just take on a client, you go and you find out about them, you go to their businesses, you really get to know them too.
I do. My old boss used to joke that I didn't just have clients, I adopted people. And I do. I like to adopt people in a way because then the more I know about them, the better questions I can ask and the better I can help them. And so that's always really important to me, to get to know everybody that I work with. And so my clients become like family. I've had some clients, of course I inherited them from my boss I've been there for 22 years. And so I've had some clients that long, and when they have a crisis, they reach out and call me and say, hey, this is what's going on. It might affect my income and my taxes. I want to let you know. And they do reach out.
And they also from one person to the next, you refer to family members and to other people, business owners, because they love working with you. Now, I want to talk a little bit about today what you want to talk about, which was limited partnership was one of them.
Yes, a lot of people get that limited partnership as an investment, and sometimes they don't really understand what that means. Well, it means that when you're investing in the partnership, you're going to get a report every year that's called a K1, and that flows through to you as an individual. But what's really important about it is that most of the time, if it's just an investment, the income from that and the losses from that are considered passive, because you're not actively working in whatever it is the business is involved in. Now, some people do have partnerships or S corporations where they are active, and then the difference between passive and active is when you lose money in a passive activity, you cannot deduct that until you have passive income, or that activity ends, the business folds. Then the year the business folds, provided you have enough basis in that company, you can take the losses at that time.
I think it's super important for people to understand too, even what passive businesses are, because that's nice to be able to have that. You sounds like you need to have that. And would you help people with knowing what to do and all of that?
Well, I'm not a financial advisor, but when they have that, I can advise them on the tax ramifications of it, and things like real estate rental companies are almost always passive. If you're actively working with it, you may be able to get a deduction if it's something you are running yourself, but by definition, they're passive. There's a $25,000 deduction if you meet the income requirements, but it's passive.
You know what I also want to say? When you mention real estate, one of the things that you love, and there's so many people who own real estate, who are investors here, and you might just own more than one property, you love real estate, you love complicated returns. I want to end with that for today.
Yeah, I do love real estate and complicated returns, and lately I've been getting some more of that from clients, which I really love. That was my second idea when I was changing careers. I thought maybe I'd go into real estate, but now I just account for real estate.
Yeah, and something, when you own a lot of property, whether it's one more or more than one, you definitely need to have somebody that's there that can help you, especially understand also those numbers as well. So before we go to a break, what would be your final words before we go to a break?
Well, my final words be, if you're doing rental properties, it's a good idea to have a CPA.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. I don't care what size business you are, small, medium, you take them all, but honestly, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think, I'm glad you brought that up, that you have to have a lot of money or a big business to have a CPA, because those sound like big letters, but you know what? You take them all.
Yep, I do.
Now, you can call her direct. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk further about some of the things that she can help with. And you can check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs.com. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. She does free consultations. She works nationwide. It's 480-964-4030. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. I got a lot in there.
Yeah, we got a lot in there. Yeah, I guess in the second half, it'd be nice to talk a little bit about extensions. They're due October 15th.
Do you wanna say passive and active, or did we already?
I covered that
So
under, as
extensions?
part of limited partnerships.
Okay.
So,
Okay, what
Yeah.
else? I don't know what I'm writing here, okay.
you
what
know, I
else?
could expand a little more on the real estate issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you love complicated returns, I
You did
mentioned,
get that in.
okay. Let me see if there's anything else, I just wanted to see.
Be nice to talk a little bit about my workflow, how I like to talk to clients 3 times a year.
Okay, let's do that. We'll do that after the extensions have.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be okay.
Yeah, when we come back, it'd be nice to expand on the real estate active
Okay,
thing.
gotcha.
All right.
And also second opinions, I wrote that down just in case I
Okay.
forget something.
Okay.
You look pretty in the blue.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I don't see you wear blue all the time. I know you wear blue, but not all the time. Pink
Yeah.
is what you mostly.
Pink, yeah,
and purple.
yeah. Pink and purple.
Yeah,
But yeah, I do have a lot of blue in my closet. Now it's getting to fall. I'm kind
Yeah.
of going into the fall colors a little bit.
yeah.
Oh, well, this is a nice kind of
I love
transition
it.
color. And it picks up the blue in that
I
skirt.
love it.
Yeah.
Pretty. It's perfect. So crazy. Keep on hitting this like I don't know why. I mean, it's not like I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
It's weird. Seems like it's closer. So welcome back, everyone. We are talking with Anna von Straussenberg. She is the owner of L. Anna von Straussenberg CPA. Anna is all about excellence and integrity in accounting. This is something that I know about her, and the minute you talk to her, you're going to see why. We wanted to kind of expand on the real estate area because a lot of people here are owners of real estate, and especially the investors that listen.
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to expand on. One of the things is that some people discover when they invest in real estate and they have losses, they are often disappointed because if they make too much money, they don't get to take the losses. You have to be under, I believe it's 150,000 before you can take any losses on real estate. Actually, it might even be lower than that, 140. And so that's kind of a disappointment to some people because those losses, they have to hold on to them until they either have some kind of passive income or they dispose of the property. And also there's another category that some people don't know about, or some people, when they do find it about, want to be it, which is a real estate professional. And somebody said, well, I have lots of real estate properties. I think I'm a real estate professional. But then you find out the person has a regular W-2 job. And the rule is you have to spend more time at your real estate than you do at any other income earning thing. And there's a lot of things you have to jump through. Now, real estate agents kind of by default do fall into that category, but other people who, if they're a mechanic or an engineer and they happen to own several rental properties, those rental properties don't by default make them real estate professionals. So
So this is where the integrity comes in because, one thing about you is that you're all about honesty and integrity, and that is something that you would, because people would say, well, who would find out? Well, you know what, if they do find out, what would happen?
Well, they get an audit and they get heavy penalties. If you're materially misreporting on your tax return, you can be hit with some severe penalties. If it's just a mistake, then there's still penalties, but they're not as bad. But if you're doing something on purpose, then they'll hit you with some bigger penalties.
Well, here's another thing that we wanted to talk about was extensions, okay? And I think it's like right now.
That's right now. My staff at my office is feverishly working on tax returns that are on extensions, because a lot of my clients waited till the last minute, and some people, we talked about K-1s, a lot of them didn't get their K-1s until this week, because the partnership and S corporation deadline was September 16th, and so some of those partnerships filed their tax returns just last week, and maybe they popped the K-1s in the mail, and now the clients are just getting them. So we've got people on backlog. So if you have extended your tax return, it's due October 15th, and that's coming up soon.
It is. Now, the other thing, too, that I want to talk about is that, it's that time of the year to start pre-planning, too, for your taxes, because we're coming down to the end of the year anyway, right? So let's talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, one of the things I like to do with my business clients especially is to look at their books about 3 times a year if I can. The first time is kind of in July. I look at everything they've done through June. And the real time I really like to see their books is, late October, after October 15th, or even November. November's even better. I'll look at their books all the way through October and see where they stand, so we can do some tax planning, because by the time we get the data in and we've looked at everything, the clients have almost finished November, and usually people know what they're going to do for the next coming month, so we get an idea where the client's going to stand tax-wise, and then that way we can do some tax planning. Hey, fund your retirement plan, purchase that new equipment you want to purchase, do all these things that you can do to improve your tax situation. Or if you're not making enough money, well, we'll say, hey, can you defer some of your expenses? We'll plan for them for the best outcome.
Well, if you're looking for somebody who's all about excellence and integrity in accounting, Anna is the person to call. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does do free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau, and you can check her out on her website, which is ArizonaCPAs.com. Talking about the fact that it is the end of the year, and other people might say, well, I have one. You do second opinions, and I want to talk a little bit about that. How important has it been for people, let's say, who do them themselves? A lot of people try to, and what happens?
Well, I can tell you, I can say about 95% of the time, I've always found money for clients. They come to me and I look at their return and they've made some awful mistakes. I did have one exception where she came to me because she was in trouble with the IRS. She had not reported a bunch of stuff. So she's my one exception. I didn't save her much money. And if they could have gotten me some information, because her husband had sold some stock that he got through an employee stock option plan, but they just didn't have the data anymore because they pay too much tax on it. And that happens a lot with people who have incentive stock options, employee purchase plans, those kinds of things. There's a lot of special rules about that, and the employers typically put some of the income into their W-2. And if you're looking at the brokerage statement, they give you a basis of what you actually paid, but they don't know that the portion of that payment went into your W-2, so you've already paid tax on some of that money.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's a good reason to call you, because that's what you look out for.
Yeah, I look out for that. And, you know, one of the things that brought up the passive and active, I looked at a tax return that a new client brought to me, and it wasn't a CPA that did it, it was a licensed tax preparer, but they made numerous errors, including counting her passive activities as active, which meant they took all the losses on it. And you know, the sad thing is she didn't get benefit of all those losses because her rest of her income was pretty low, and it would be actually beneficial for her to take those losses in this year. So we may talk about later today. I'm going to talk to her about amending her prior return, because it'll, she may have to pay a little tax for 2022, but it'll benefit her going forward.
I'll tell you something, there's certainly a good reason to call Anna. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. You know, you mentioned something that this one client that had, I know you've had more than just one that's done this, but I want people to know that they also, people who don't do their taxes and they put their heads in the sand, you can help them with that. And what's great about you is that you get them on your side, the IRS. Don't try and do that on your own. Oh my gosh, please.
Yeah, I usually have really good success with the IRS. I kind of know the best time to call them. I do have a practitioner priority line that we use they only allow tax preparers and CPAs to use that line. And I think I get a better quality of agent, and I call kind of sometimes when I know that they're not as busy, and so I talk to the person, hey, how are you doing? What can you do to help my client? And I get them on my side. I talk to them like real human beings and treat them very nicely. And, I have a lot of success. I mean, sometimes the agents they have their hands tied and they can't do anything. And I understand that, and I don't get mad. It's hard for an individual to talk about their own stuff because they are so emotionally involved.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've always heard about investments as well. It's good to have an investment advisor because you don't make logical decisions on your taxes and your investments. You make emotional decisions, which are almost always the wrong ones.
Absolutely. How far can they go back on with people if they haven't done their taxes in a while?
Well, it's up to the IRS how far they want you to go back. The rule of thumb to amend tax returns is 3 years after the filing deadline. But tax returns, I've usually seen about 5 years.
Well, listen, and when people think about having a CPA, we want you to stress this to everybody, is that you don't have to have a huge business. You work with small, you do both personal and business tax, so you do both. And you know what she does is she is your friend. You become her part of her family. What I love about her is she's all about excellence and integrity in accounting, and she helps everyone understand their numbers so that they can make more money in the long run. That's what you're all about, is helping them, understanding it, and hopefully being able to make and grow your business. That's what she's all about. Certainly if you have some issues, she can help you there as well. Write this number down. It's 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. She does do free consultations. She works nationwide. She's rated with the Better Business Bureau. You can call her direct. Again, that number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Let me tell you something, folks. She does second opinions, and this is the time of the year, as we're getting closer to the end of the year, to start getting prepared for the coming year of taxes as well. Again, that number to call, it's 480-964-4030. It's Arizona CPAs with an S.com.